Let's check in with the NFL insiders as they try to twist themselves into knots to come up with more unneeded Sam Darnold hate. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Seahawks Digest, the show where we are one day closer to actual football returning and putting some of the dumb narratives to end that are going on out there. Today's one that I got for you, like I said, we're going to get to some Sam Darnold stuff specifically, but this article about some winners and some losers from OTAs and minicamps got me thinking, and it's maybe just for those of you that have actually had touched grass and interacted with your families and whatnot and have not just been locked in a podcast studio talking about Seahawks all summer. But it can be a nice slight refresher for everything going on as we set the table to try and run it back for not one, not two, not three, or however many championships we're going to get to. Before we get to that, though, I got to say a very quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Prize Picks. They are America's #1 sports pick app and the best way for you to get in on the action. And right now, if you use the code DIGEST for new users and you play $5 in your lineups, you'll get $50 instantly from Prize Picks. Thank you very much, Prize Picks, for your sponsorship of this video. Okay. You want to do the winners or the losers first? The 3 ups or the 2 down? Okay, I hear you. We will get to the good news first. Winner number 1, George Holani. The running back situation is interesting because while on the surface we are missing the 2 main guys from last year, it is only because only Kenneth Walker III is gone. Sharps is coming back, and he's coming back sooner rather than later. But there's this weird power vacuum that exists where Jadarian Price and George Holani and others, but specifically I'm big on Holani and Price, they're going to be competing for enough playing time right now in the first couple weeks of the season that it could be definitely career and life impacting for one of those guys. And George Holani seems to be right place, right time, a guy who has quietly waited in the wings and learned the system and maybe doesn't have the explosiveness, if you will, or maybe doesn't have the same ceiling as Price, but is ready to go right now and is a little bit less of an unknown as compared to Price. Now, they listed Jadarian Price as one of the losers of this, and I think that they, like I said, these media people twist themselves into knots. Like they said, there might not be any clear-cut losers for Seattle. It would be, though, a loss for Jadarian Price to go from an off-season start where Sean Alexander was heaping praise on him, saying, oh my gosh, he's going to be the only rookie to rush for 1,000 yards, and then to get beat out by George Holani. I get where they're coming from as an L, but I guess, who are you, of all the running backs, in or out on? Is this something where you want to see this kind of thing split, or do you genuinely trust the guy who's been in the system for a couple of years, knows? Holani feels safe to me. The more I hear about him, the more I watch about him, I get where he might not try to do too much and can just be a trustworthy backup with then Price. The same way that I'm now, talking about Holani being good because he sat there and learned, Price could be that guy because he sits here and learns for a little bit. Next guy down on the winners is Rashid Shaheed. Everybody is talking about how he is poised to just have an explosive year under Fleury. They're talking about him being an expensive decoy in his first year with the Seahawks. I think that the price tag to production is a hard one to have like a guaranteed direct correlation where you're like, oh yeah, because because now that he's making over 75 or over 100, that needs to be a direct 1-to-1 that it's now. Look, if he comes up with one big catch a game, but is such a threat because of that one big catch a game that he then draws attention from elsewhere to him that allows JSN or Cooper Cupp or some of our tight ends who are going to be allegedly having explosive years and become the next couple of George Kittles. Like, football's a weird one where the box score can really sometimes be just completely wrong in terms of a guy's overall contribution to the team. And so I'll be very curious this coming season. I think no matter what, he's going to have a great year. But will it be a great year where he ends up making this massive actual statistical leap? Or does he just end up as like the perfect in-between of JSN's really got the attention from the ones from every team, and the tight ends are keeping people honest, and the running game is cooking inside the box. So there's this weird middle zone where Shaheed's just going to get absolutely targeted nonstop all season. I am unsure as to which it's going to be. I don't know if anybody's 100% sure under the fact that we have a new offensive coordinator coming in, but it's nonetheless an exciting thing. On the defensive side, Nick Eamon-Worry is listed as being the winner from this offseason takeaway. He has been discussed by Coach. I did a full in-depth video on this that you can go back and watch. That's why I always say subscribe, because we've got tons of content coming out every single day because I have no life. But Eamon-Worry is going to be that last two sentences there, I think, is going to be the summary of this season for him, where they use the word versatile and complete. He is going to be Weapon X, used in all sorts of creative fashions, to the point where it bugs me sometimes how guys are now just listed as athlete. And I get that makes me sound kind of boomerish, where it's like, oh, back in my day, you were just a wide receiver or just a this. But sometimes there are guys who literally play too vague of a position because of their athleticism and actual on-field talents that you can't pin them down to just be one thing. And I am seeing enough from all of these NFL experts that Eamon-Worry is going to be that guy. And coach is commenting about how, like, yeah, we're taking some time right now to install the base defense, but we're going to let him kind of dictate where we go with what his ceiling is. And that is really exciting when you have a cornerback who is capable of run stopping, blitzing, dropping back into coverage. I just don't know how you contain that ultimately as an offense, because you have to worry about the other 10 guys on the team. All right, the final one that I want to get to, this is where I was saying just the unnecessary slanders. They list Sam Darnold as the other loser of this offseason because he didn't get a contract extension. I can be talked into both sides of this in terms of how they say that John Schneider doesn't really hand out extensions early, so it wasn't personal, but also that, like, hey, he won the Super Bowl and he's proven it now that he's not a bust and he can do this on any team. He just did it with the Vikings. This guy is not old, so it's not like you're trying to give some 38-year-old an undue contract. Where it kind of falls apart to me is in the green down there, where they start linking this narrative to Brendan Sorsby, and I'll do a whole other video on that. But GTFO with a guy who gambled himself out of college football ended up being a threat to Sam Darnold. Like, as somebody who has to produce content myself, I get that sometimes you just got to say things to move the ball forward and keep the conversation going and reach your 500 words. But this just doesn't make any sense. He's going to get paid. The contract situation is to me, the Seahawks are doing the right thing, where they're going after all the other pieces around Darnold to make sure that the bulk of this thing keeps going forward. Because I think we saw it with And we saw it with Russell Wilson. You overpay to that quarterback, and things start to immediately fall apart. So why not get the winning you can right now with Darnold still under his current contract before overcommitting? And then even if it's not overcommitting, even if he goes on a massive 5 years of just running the NFL, overcommitting in the sense of like there is a literal cap to this, so you can't get everybody pay. Not everyone can eat all the time. So, you know what I'm saying? That's the list. Before we get out of here, got to say thank you again to the sponsors of today's videos, and that is Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app, and the best way to get in on the action. And right now, if you want to get in on the action, Prize Picks is trying to hook up new users. If you use that code DIGEST, DIGEST, when you're signing up using the link that we have for you below, you get $50 when you play your first $5 in lineups. They got a bunch of promotions also going on for returning users. With the World Cup going on, there's just nonstop action to get in on there anyway. But Taco Tuesdays aren't going anywhere all Tuesday long. Every Tuesday long, their board is serving up discounted projections, and then you can close your week out with Flex Fridays. Use your Flex Friday boost to up your payouts by up to 40%. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app, the best way to get in on the action. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Till next time, we'll talk to you soon.